This video is sponsored by Subcase. In 2024, I used a foldable phone for the first time, the Z Fold 6, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I use this thing almost every day for almost everything, and that experience made me really hopeful for the next generation of foldables. To the point that I had my own wish list for the Z Fold 7, so when I got invited to attend Galaxy Unpacked, my answer was an easy yes. I wanted to see firsthand what Samsung has been up to. I actually created a whole vlog about it, so if you want to see what happens behind the scenes, go ahead and watch this video right here. But this means I've been using the Z Fold 7 for over a week now, so I wanted to share my thoughts on the key changes Samsung made that make this phone even more compelling for a lot of people, and speak on some of those areas which I think they could have done better. But before we get into it, please consider subscribing to the channel. The first thing you'll notice after picking up this phone is how thin it is. I expected Samsung to make a thinner phone, but I didn't think it was gonna be this thin. As a point of comparison, the Z Fold 6 was 12.1 millimeters thick, and the Z Fold 7 is now only 8.9 millimeters when folded, which is not far from the S25 Ultra, which is 8.2 millimeters thin. And a lot of people have already asked me, why does this matter? Well, at one point, the Z Fold was as thick as two phones glued together, so it was pretty bulky. And it's crazy that now the Z Fold 7 folds into a device that's not any different than a regular slab phone. They even made the cover screen wider, so it feels very natural in the hand, so basic tasks like texting, scrolling on social media, and gaming doesn't feel squeezed anymore. And not only that, it's actually lighter than the S25 Ultra. When unfolded, the device is just about thick enough to host a USB-C port, and the screen is now bigger at 8 inches from 7.6 inches. However, to make the Z Fold 7 as thin and light as it is, they had to remove the pen digitizer. This was the technology that allowed the Z Fold to have a dedicated pen, but that feature has been completely removed now. They told us that based on their research, there's only a small number of people that use the S Pen with the Z Fold devices. So I did a poll on Threads, and I guess you can say they were right. However, in my opinion, this was a key advantage Samsung had over other foldables that they've simply abandoned. It seemed like they were really focused on making this like a traditional slab phone, which is very impressive, don't get me wrong, but I would easily take a slightly thicker phone just to have that pen compatibility. I think that feature adds to the tablet functionality of this device, but then again, I am part of the minority, so I guess it is what it is. If I were to predict what's going to happen in their next releases, I'm guessing that the S26 Ultra won't have a pen anymore. I don't think it makes sense at this point, but then we'll see a comeback of the S Pen with the Z Fold 8. Or maybe I'm just completely delusional. I'm not sure if the removal of the pen digitizer is related to this or not, but the crease of the Z Fold 7 looks better than the Z Fold 6. I don't think it's only because the Z Fold 7 is new, but I'll definitely pay more attention to this in the next few weeks and months and see if that stays true. Overall though, the crease never really bothered me because when you're looking at the screen directly, it kind of just blends in and your content just comes through. It's only when you're viewing the screen at an angle that it kind of becomes more apparent. Since the Z Fold 7 is super thin now, I know a lot of people would want to put on a case as soon as they get their hands on it. And today's sponsor, Subcase, created two amazing cases that I think you should check out. The UB Grip is an all-in-one case that combines protection and functionality. It has a dual layer design with air cushioned corners for impact protection, and the hinge is also fully protected. So you can bring this anywhere without worrying about whether your device is safe or not. Of course, the screen itself also needs protection, so there's a built-in tempered glass screen protector that protects your screen from scratches and dings while keeping the touch smooth and responsive. But that's not all. This case has a built-in kickstand that is super useful to have on a device like this. For example, I was able to video call my wife and set my phone down on the desk to keep my hands free while I was packing to get back home from New York City. And when I got stuck at the airport for over 9 hours, this absolutely came in clutch. I was able to let time pass easily while watching content and scrolling on social media. And if you're like me and you love MagSafe accessory, the UB Grip has a MagSafe ring. So you can use your favorite accessories like MagSafe wallet and chargers. They literally thought of everything. But if you're not into MagSafe accessories, they also have the UB Pro, which gives you all of the functionalities we talked about earlier other than MagSafe at a slightly thinner form factor. So make sure to check out Subcase by using the links in the description below. One upgrade I was really hoping to see with the Z Fold 7 is the implementation of a better anti-reflective coating, not only in the inner screen but also the outer screen. Something like what we had on the S24 Ultra, which is also now on the S25 Ultra. Unfortunately, Samsung did not make any changes to either one. From what I can tell, the coating is pretty much the same as before, which is a huge bummer. I feel like if there's a device that actually needs anti-reflective coating, it would be this one. Like I said earlier, Samsung was really focused on making this device as close to a traditional slab phone as possible. And because of its price point, they also had to make this a true flagship phone, and I think they did a really good job at that. The Z Fold 7 now uses the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy compared to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 of the Z Fold 6, which should give it noticeable performance boost when doing productivity tasks and gaming. But what's surprising is, although they are using a more powerful chip and the same 4400 mAh battery, they are claiming that it has a better video playback time. So definitely battery test and gaming test coming up in my full review. Battery was never an issue for me with the Z Fold 6. When I know I'll be using my phone a lot, I always carry a battery pack with me anyway. And the one I've been using recently is the Pocket Rocket P50 from iNew. I love using this because it's a super portable 10,000 mAh power bank and it's able to output 45 watt fast charging. It's only about the size of regular earbuds, so it's easy to fit in my pocket or sling. Plus, it's really light and compact, and this lanyard is actually a USB-C cable, which is pretty awesome. Samsung also made huge improvements on the cameras of the Z Fold 7. It now has a 200 megapixel main camera, which means you can zoom in on your photos and see more details than before. And honestly, I can see the improvements even without pixel peeping, which is a good sign. This gave me confidence while taking photos and videos in New York City, and it didn't feel like I was compromised anymore, unlike the Z Fold 6. Even the ultra-wide camera has now been improved. It's now able to take brighter photos and it now has autofocus. The inner camera also got an upgrade. The Z Fold 6 had a horrible 4 megapixel underscreen camera, which I honestly never used other than when I reviewed the phone, but this now has a respectable 10 megapixel punch hole camera. Shooting videos also got a huge upgrade. The Z Fold 7 can now shoot and vlog, and it takes your videos to the next level. I played with this a little bit during Galaxy Unpacked, and after getting home and reviewing all the clips, I was super impressed. Especially with these two clips right here. It's just so amazing the kind of quality you can get out of phones nowadays. So if you just want to document your life or start creating content, you literally have almost no excuse because these cameras are so incredible. I am curious though, for someone who's not a content creator or not into video editing, when you hear features like this, does it excite you or does it feel just completely unnecessary? Personally, obviously, that excites me, but I can also see how it might sound impractical for most, but I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. One final improvement I was hoping to see in the Z Fold 7 was upgraded speakers. If you are new to this device, both speakers are on the same side of the Fold. So when you flip it open, the speakers are both on the left side. So you kind of have to turn the phone on its side if you want a balanced sound. I was really hoping to see 4 speakers, 2 on each side, or at the very least, I would have loved to see one right here and then maybe right here, so that whether I'm watching like this or like this, you'll get a pretty balanced audio. In my initial testing, the speakers of the Z Fold 7 seems worse than the Z Fold 6. It just sounds a bit more muffled and tinny. I'm assuming it's because of how thin this device is, so I'm really curious though how it compares to the S25 Edge. Overall, I think the Z Fold 7 brings huge improvements. The thinner profile, wider cover screen, and better cameras make this a compelling device for anyone who wants a premium smartphone experience. It's a flagship smartphone that's also a pocketable tablet whenever you need it. I'll continue to use the Z Fold 7 in the next couple of weeks, so if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll try to answer them in that video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.